Okay, I think I'm live. Just going to check LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube. Okay, awesome. Okay, fantastic. So, hi everyone. Coming on quickly just to say hello to everyone and do a quick live. I've had a lot of people asking a lot of questions, so I will be answering questions. Hi Farida. Hi. I'll be answering questions live. Feel free to send in a question. Some people had sent in questions earlier, so I will be answering those questions. Okay. Just checking that the stream is up everywhere. Okay. Asking questions earlier, so okay, I will be. Okay, fantastic. All right, yeah, we're live. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to be answering some questions people have been sending to me. I'm answering them live, and if you have questions, post your questions. Okay. So the first question I'm going to be answering is people. I have had people ask me. So I want to become a business analyst. What's the difference between the IBA and CBAP? Now, the IBA is a global body for business analysis. So the IBA is not a certification, but it is the body that awards a certification for business analysis. Now, with regards to business analysis, there are three certification levels. So there's the entry level for business analysis certifications, which is the ECBA. For the ECBA, someone who has 0 to 1 years of experience can take the ECBA certification. And then for the CCBA, that is the competency level. For the competency level, if you have 2 to 3 years work experience, you can take the CCBA certification. And then the highest level, which is the CBAP, which is the professional level. So you're someone who has an experience practicing business analysis for 4 to 5 years and above, then you definitely want to take the CBAP. So the IBA is a global body. When people say what's the difference between IBA and CBAP, that's the body, right? That's the awarding body for the certifications. So with regards to applying for the certifications, so you do not need to have a title of business analyst for you to apply to the certifications. Hi, Nkechi. Hi, Joanne, Taiwo, Femi. Nice to see you. So you do not need to have had the title of business analyst to apply for any of the certifications. You need to have relatable work experience. Your job title doesn't matter. It depends on the projects and initiatives you've worked on. Also important is the fact that you have the development hours. So you get that through taking a course in business analysis through an endorsed education provider. The courses will give you the hours to apply, as well as filling out some other application criteria with regards to your work experience. So your work experience is key. So you take the best way to go about this is first determine your eligibility. So on the IBA website, which is www.iiba.org, the eligibility criteria for all the exams is listed there. So based on your years of experience, you already know which one you can take. And if you're confused, reach out to any endorsed provider, and they would, based on your experience, they would based on your experience, they would determine which is best for you. So when I speak to anyone, I ask about your career journey, I ask about your experience, I take a look at your resume, and that gives me an idea of which of the certification levels you should look out for, right? So that's it with the certification. So if you want to take a certification, the first thing you should do is know if you're eligible. So if you're eligible, fantastic. Find an endorsed education provider. Okay. Take the preparatory course. You get the hours. You apply. Once you apply, you're approved. Then you study. You book your exam dates and you schedule your exam. And as regards the exams are taken in person, in center, right? So, pre-COVID, you could actually schedule a center in your city and take the examinations. But you can also take it online. So online proctored is taking it in the convenience of your home, just making sure you have a great laptop that meets the standards. So you can actually test the requirements online to see if your laptop meets the standards. And then you can also make sure you have a perfect working webcam. Of course, your environment has to be clear, and you take it at home from your home and make sure you have great internet connection, Wi-Fi connection. I've heard of cases where people lost internet connection for a while, but it all depends on your proctor because someone is watching you, right? So some proctors are lenient and would give you an extra 5 or 10 minutes or something, but you never know. So you want to make sure that you have great and fast internet connection. And people in Nigeria asking me, can I write this in Nigeria? Yes, I've had a lot of people write their exams in Nigeria, just making sure they had good internet service and they passed the exams. The exam is 3.5 hours for the CPAP exam. It's 120 questions. So someone says, I have more than 5 years project management experience. Can I try the CBAP? I will actually just want to be sure. Yes, you definitely can. Because of your experience in managing projects for 5 years is definitely relatable to business analysis. And with regards to your application, you're just going to have to, spell out the projects you worked on, and then basically let us know how many hours you spent carrying out business analysis tasks. So, the same way you probably applied for the PMP certification, if you have that, you can also do the same for the CBAP. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Olanio. All right. So another question that people have asked, and I've had a couple of people ask me, is regards to moving to Canada. So you want to move to Canada, how does this work? A lot of people ask me these questions. I am not an immigration consultant. And the thing is, the immigration rules change a lot at the time. So you want to make sure you're up to date with this information anywhere you are. So firstly, with regards to moving to Canada, is there's different streams, but you want to make sure you're coming in the legal way, first of all. So for me, I'm a federal skilled applicant, so I came into the express entry stream. And what the requirements were, and they still are, is one, your age. So your age determines your eligibility, your years of work experience, your English speaking skills, and your education level. So those are the 4 things that qualified me to apply. And I did, and I went through a process of applications and documentation and all that. And once you're able to satisfy all the requirements, because an immigration officer, or I don't know what they're called, but they're going to actually review your application, right? So someone actually reviews the applications, right? It's not like an automated process. Now, there are also the provincial nomination streams, which you can apply to. You can express interest in living in a province, and then the province can accept you. Or sometimes the provinces actually go ahead and select people from the pool. So you want to make sure that you have a profile, which is called the pool, where people are selected from. So I hope that helps the question of the person asking how they can move to Canada. And if you want more information, you'd have to, work with an immigration consultant, right? Also, with regards to moving, people say, what should I know if I'm moving? So the first thing I want to tell you is make sure you're arriving prepared. So, If you're moving to Canada, learn about Canada. If you're moving to a province of your choice, learn about that province. Hi, John. Hi, Deborah. If you're moving to a province, learn about that province. Do your research very well on where is the best place for you. A lot of people prefer to move to places where they already have some sort of support. You have friends or family there. That's fantastic because, you know, having a support system is great, especially when you're moving into a new country, right? So doing your research about the country, doing your research about the provinces, and then, you know, your chosen field. So you want to work as a business analyst, you want to work as a nurse, you want to work as a HR professional, you want to work as a dentist. Now, do your research. Is my field regulated? Is it a regulated profession? Do I need a license to practice? You know, go on LinkedIn, look at people who are already in those roles you want to be at. What certifications do they have? What kind of education do they have? That kind of guides your knowledge and guides you into knowing, okay, I want to work as a business analyst. I see a lot of people, you know, who are business analysts have the CBAP certification. Okay, how many years of experience do they have? What's their career journey? Where did they start their careers? How did they transition? Right? You want to find people who their stories relate to yours. So for me, as a lot of you know, I studied accounting. I moved from accounting into business analysis and into the tech space. So what I did was I made sure I was networking with people who had the same career journey, the same experiences I had. And of course, building relationships with them, asking questions to know, you know, how their experience went, knowing more about their journeys, because I also learned from the experiences, right? So having those kind of people mentor and guide you, you know, you're someone moving from a non-traditional background, from the arts, you know, from the social sciences, and you want to move into tech, you want to move into business analysis, you want to make sure that the person that is guiding you has the same experience. Guys, it's so important to have someone who mentors and coaches you that has the same experiences that you've had, because it's so relatable. You know, someone who shared the same experiences and journey, the person has also gone through the same hurdles, and the person already has that experience, and that person is going to guide you so you don't make those same mistakes. So, you know, having someone who's going to mentor and coach you in that area would be fantastic. And you know, there are a lot of people that you may not have to engage with, but just even looking at their profiles, you know, says a lot about, you know, how they've grown in their journey. So I tell people, I say, look at, you know, 10 successful people. 10, you're moving to Canada, look at 10 successful immigrants in the field you're looking out for. There's LinkedIn for you, search, right? Look at what they have. There's something that's going to be a common denominator in their profiles, in their journeys, right? So from there, you can know, okay, a lot of them have, you know, XYZ certifications. A lot of them took, you know, certain courses, or they went to, they went back to school to get a diploma or something. So you have an idea of, you know, what you should be doing. And then also reaching out. So for a lot of people, which is something I find a lot of people struggle with, is building connections, answering, you know, asking questions, and seeking advice. So when you reach out to someone on LinkedIn, you know, messages or Facebook, you need to build that relationship first, and not ask for a job or ask for a referral as the first thing. You want to ask intelligent questions, do your research, right? Somebody coming to ask me what's the meaning of IBA, what's the meaning of CBAP, you know, what's the difference between IBA and CBAP, means you haven't even done your research. You know, someone asking me questions that are obvious from my profile means you haven't even looked at my profile. You don't even know what I do, right? So you want to make sure that you've done your research. You're able to, you know, find common ground, build a relationship, a connection, you know, have, you know, great conversations. And then that person is even open to speaking with you, knowing more about you, and then even happy to meet up with you in person, say you've already arrived. So even before you arrive, start building these connections, you know, build a circle of influence, a circle of success, because you never know how those connections are going to help you. So once you do that, you're already charting your path, you know, before you arrive. And once you do that, you're already kind of preparing, you know, for your arrival. So when you arrive prepared, it's a lot easier for you to hit the ground running. You have your necessary certifications. You've started taking your licensing exams, or you've done that already. For a lot of the exams, you can take them anywhere. So you don't have to wait till you arrive before you start. And for a lot of people who want to make a transition, who want to make a change, because the truth is, when you're immigrating, for a lot of us who, a lot of people who they got out of school and they took that first job that they got, and that sort of became, their career path. But that's really not what they wanted. They're not fulfilled. So they want to try something else. Or they want to do whatever they've always wanted to do. I've had people move here and say, I'd always wanted to be a HR professional. I'd always wanted to study law. I've always wanted to be an accountant. I've always wanted to be a business analyst. I've always wanted to be, a nurse, right? If that's your goal, then it's an opportunity for you to restart. But you want to make sure that you've probably already started the process. If you want to go back to school, you apply. Start applying to schools before you arrive so that you already have admissions into the next session. So, keeping your options open. Like before I moved here, I thought about school options. I had 2 admissions already waiting for me before I landed. So these things already help you set that path. I'd done certifications, I'd taken courses, I started building a network of people, and it just helped me to kind of, kickstart my journey way, way faster. Okay. Now I have a question that was sent in. I'm trying to find that question. Another question. So someone asked about, she said she's based in Calgary and she wants to start her own business. She said, how do you start up yours? Were you scared? How do you source clients? Challenges? So with regards to business, because I'm a consultant, I needed to talk to people who are in consulting. So I spoke to people who are in consulting, asked questions, found out the kind of challenges they had. What are the things I should know before starting a consulting business? So I did that. So I don't know what business you want to start, but you want to make sure you're speaking to people who already have been in the business and people who are like you. For example, if you're an immigrant to Canada, you want to speak to people who are immigrants as well and find how they got success in their businesses. Okay. And then you want to speak to an accountant, speak to a lawyer, make sure you have the right information in regards to the business you want to start. Is it regulated? Do I need a license to start the business? And what are the basic things I need to have in place? Get that. Were you scared? With everything, you're always scared. Getting a new job, moving countries, starting a new business, taking that step, going into an interview, there's always that fear. So of course, everyone has that fear, but you have to overcome that fear. And it just comes with being confident and knowing that you can do it. Sourcing for clients. I don't know what business you do for this question that's asked. So I don't know how you're going to find your clients, but you want to make sure that you have an online presence, right? Having an online presence, whatever you're doing, social media is a great way to do that. Have a website, have ways that people can reach you at any time. You didn't say the business you're starting, so I don't know what kind of business you're doing, if you need a physical storefront or not. So those are the things that would help you. I hope I'm able to answer that question. Someone says, Neha says, what do you recommend to take first out of the 2, CBAP or PMP, if planning for both? Also, Neha, I would say focus on where your strengths lie. Are you better as a PM or a BA? If you're better as a PM, then take the PMP, because when you have your PMP, then you can get a project manager job and then look at the CBAP, right? I don't know what role you're in right now, or if your strengths, if you have your strengths are higher as a business analyst, right? In your competences, then you look at the CBAP and take the CBAP certification. But you could definitely have the 2. That's fine. If you want both hats as a BA and a PM, having the 2 certifications is awesome, right? So look at your strengths. What are your strengths? And then also look at, I don't know where you're located, which of the 2 roles, have the highest demand, are in the higher demand. Is it the BA roles or the PM roles? Then that would also determine which of the certifications you're going to take. And then what is most required from employers? Is it the PMP or the CBAP? Then that would help you to make that decision. But definitely want to focus on yourself first. What are my strengths? Am I a better project manager or a better BA? Deborah says, what province is the best for a business analyst? As a business analyst, you can work anywhere. There's no province that's the best. There are business analysts roles in all the provinces in Canada. It just really depends on where you want to settle at. Now, the question would be, what's the demand for business analysts in that area, right? So you want to do some research. If you have a chosen province, speak to a wide number of people, carry out a survey and look out for a lot of people, that you can relate with. So I talk about relatability because it's very key. My experience as an immigrant, my experience as moving here from Nigeria will, I would provide better insight to someone who shares the same immigrant experience, someone from India, from Africa, from Asia. I guess I would, the person can relate better with me, and I can share my experiences. So my experience is different from someone else. There are people who, wanted a career in oil and gas, and they know that they can only get a great career in oil and gas if they move to Alberta, because Alberta is like the oil province, right? So and if you're someone who's really looking into getting into techs and startups, if that startup thing is your goal, then you're looking at Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal. If you're someone who wants to, work in the head offices of any of the top 5 banks, you want to look at Toronto, right? Because that's where the head offices of all the top 5 banks are. But the truth is, the role of a business analyst it cuts across all industries, all domains. So you can work anywhere. That's the truth. So just doing your research and knowing, but you can work anywhere as a business analyst. Emmanuel says, what's the most recommended path to become a business analyst if I only have mainstream banking experience back home and AML experience? Okay, so the recommended path would be you have banking experience. Now, we're going to look at your experience and see, in Emmanuel's experience, did Emmanuel carry out business analysis activities? So even as an AML analyst, right, you're carrying out anti-money laundering activities, you're carrying out compliance activities. Now, can those activities be related to business analysis, right? So you're going to look into the competencies that you have. Do they relate to business analysis competencies? Are you carrying a lot of critical thinking, problem solving? Do you have great business acumen, business knowledge? Do you have solution knowledge? Do you have great ethics? Are you a great communicator? Because as a business analyst, you need to be great at communicating. So we look at your competencies and then look at the kind of initiatives that you were involved in. So with your AML experience, how were you able to help drive the business goals, the company's goals with your AML experience? Were you involved in any AML projects that help reduce fraud, save the bank, X amount of money because we're able to, start a project, that helped us with fraud prevention? So these are the questions you need to start asking yourself, and then also working with someone who understands the business analysis process. So a coach who can guide you on how your experience can be relevant, when you move into a business analysis role. So your experience definitely is relevant if you've carried out activities that are relatable to business analysis. So the recommended path would be looking through your experience, fishing out the business analysis activities you've carried out, and then, of course, looking at the business analysis certifications based on your years of experience, which of them would be a better fit for you, and taking the preparatory course and taking the certification exams. But for sure, as a business analyst, or an AML analyst in the bank, you definitely have those experiences, right? Also, something to note is that banks are very innovative. I say this because people in the finance industry and the banking industry make very great business analysts. So if you have a background in banking and finance, you have very good experience in business analysis. Why? Because banks are very innovative. Banks are driven by technology. The financial industry is very adaptive to technology. So everyone is involved in technology. Even you, Emmanuel, in your role as an AML analyst, you've been involved in a lot of initiatives, a lot of projects, because the project in the bank involves everyone from fraud to the operations team, to the commercial team, to the technical team. Everyone is involved, really. So there is no way you wouldn't have relatable experience to business analysis. And you can send me a message if you if you have more questions. Missy says, is taking ITIL and DevOps relevant to becoming a business analyst? So Missy, what's your experience? What are your strengths really? What kind of business analyst are you? You know, what's the career path you're charting for yourself as a business analyst, right? So if you're a business analyst who's going to be working in the IT space, you should have the ITIL, which is the IT infrastructure library, which guides the practice of IT service management. So you should have the ITIL. It is a nice to have if you're practicing in the IT domain, because if you're working on IT projects, you need to understand how ITSM works. So I would advise the ITIL. For DevOps, it depends on what you want to do. What kind of career path are you charting for yourself? Then you could consider DevOps. But then again, are you working in the Agile space? Are you using Agile methodologies? What's your experience with Agile? Do you understand the basics of Agile, the Agile principles? Do you understand the Scrum principles? What frameworks do you know how to use? So when it comes to Agile, we have so many frameworks, right? So what can you use? Which of them are you familiar with? What's your role exactly? I would say focus on, where your strengths are and what would get you into business analysis. If you're looking into IT, you can take the ITIL. But for the DevOps, I would say if you already have background knowledge of Agile and you have experience working in the Agile space, fine. If not, I don't believe in just packing a lot of things and having them that are irrelevant to you. So kind of really focusing on, what's relevant to you, your career path, what strengths you have, would definitely help you there. Okay. Niha, okay, you're looking to settle in Vancouver, but you're in the UAE. Okay, so you're already in the UAE and you're working as a project manager, and you have experience in project management. Then I'll say take the PMP, right? Take the PMP exams and then move here. So here, when it comes to project management, the PMI standards is what companies look out for. So companies look out for people who have the PMP certification, right, for project managers. And for business analysis, it's either the CCBA or the CBAP certification. So try to get that before you move. That'll be fantastic for you. And wishing you the best in your move. So Eniola says, my goal is to become a BA because my role back home relates to requirement gathering. Okay, already registered for PMP and plan to write the exam next month. Do you recommend the PMP PBA? I guess you meant the PMI PBA. So you're writing your PMP, that's fantastic. But you say your role relates to requirement gathering. So you mean elicitation and collaboration. So do you already have experience managing projects? Because I find with project management, you need to really, really have managed projects for you to be a successful project manager. It's not a career path that you can just say, oh, I wake up today and say, I want to start managing projects. There's a lot of things involved, moving parts to managing a project. And here, I don't know where you're located, but I know here, when you're applying for a project management role, it's really, really specific to the kind of projects you've worked on. Are they IT infrastructure projects? Are they construction projects? Are they software implementation projects? So it's really specific, unlike business analysis, where you can have relatable experience and transferable skills to work across different domains, from banking to oil and gas to aviation to tech, wherever. So, since you've registered for the PMP, you could take that, and then you can look at the BA certification. So if you have the PMP and you're experienced working in projects and you want to have the knowledge of being a business analyst in projects, then you can take the PMI PBA. But if you want to have a broader knowledge and understanding of business analysis with regards to the IIBA's global standards, working as a business analyst, then you should consider the CBAP certification, right? Yeah, but you say your experience relates to requirement elicitation. I wonder why you went for the PMP first. Rosemary Oji. What's the difference between data analytics and business analytics? Well, to be honest, they're used interchangeably. I don't see a lot of difference. So basically, data analytics is, a data analyst is still a business analyst, That's the truth. And the business data analysts and a business analyst are still business analysts, business analytics, data analytics. You're using analytical tools to help the company solve problems. You're using analytical tools to help the company, achieve their business goals. You're using analytical tools to provide solutions to deliver value to the organization. That's what analytics is really all about. So whether it's data analytics title or business intelligence analytics title, it's still the same thing because you're still using the same tools. So in this role, you want to make sure that you have advanced Excel knowledge. You know how to use SQL. You know how to use languages like R and Python. You could use tools like Tableau, Power BI to carry out data analytics. So once you have your data, you clean your data, and then you export your data into any of these analytical tools that help you visualize your data. But there's really much more to it. So if you're interested in analytics, you're still a business analyst. However, your expertise is in using these tools to help the business, achieve their goals, provide value and recommend solutions to the business. Taiwo says, what's the CBA pass rate? What are the chances of you getting a job as a BA in Canada with just related experiences without certifications? So there's no pass rates for the CBAP exams. Nobody knows what the pass rate is. So with regards to the certification, it's basically by the different knowledge areas. So there are 6 knowledge areas that will be covered for the exam. So the first knowledge area is business analysis, planning and monitoring. The second is elicitation and collaboration. The third is requirement lifecycle management. The fourth is strategy analysis. The fifth is requirement analysis, design and definition. And then the last is solution evaluation. So these are the 6 knowledge areas, and the questions would be around these knowledge areas, the application of this knowledge area, the elements, inputs, outputs, the guidelines and tools, and the techniques used to apply the tasks in these knowledge areas. Okay. Now you need to have good knowledge of all the knowledge areas, good understanding and the application, because for every knowledge area there's a comparable number of questions that you must pass to have passed a knowledge area. So if you miss out on some knowledge areas, then you fail the exam. So there is really no pass rate. You need to have a good understanding of all the knowledge areas to pass the exam. What are the chances? There are chances if you have good relatable experience, right? So for someone who doesn't have the CBAP certification, can you get a job? Yes, right? You can get a job without having the CBAP certification. Taiwo, you have good experience already practicing business analysis that is relatable to the organization you're interviewing with or you're applying to, right? Then you can get that job. But someone who doesn't have a lot of experience, and you're trying to get a job without even going through understanding the standards for practicing business analysis or getting your certification, it might be pretty dicey, but you definitely can get a job without the certification. If you have, strong experience that is verifiable as well, then you can get a job. So why certifications are encouraged is really because, first of all, you earn more as when you're certified. People who have the certifications earn over 20% more than people who do not have the certifications. You're also more marketable, you're more employable. And the truth is, these days, companies want, BAs who already have an understanding of the application of the standards. So the IB has a standard for practicing business analysis, the same way as you have the PMP. You understand the standards for practicing project management according to the PMI, right? So you want to make sure that you're sort of well-grounded in this. And I advise that since you have the PMP, you should go for the CBAP certification so that you're able to wear both hats. You understand the application, for both the project management side and the business analysis side, and to definitely help you be more employable, more marketable, and negotiate a higher salary for sure. Okay. Sudeep, how to prepare for CBAP step by step. I have BA/QA experience. Okay, Sudeep, so you already have experience, which is fantastic. You know, like I said earlier, you already have the experience. So what you need to do is go to the IBA website, check out the eligibility based on your years of experience. Is it the ECBA? You already have experience, so maybe CCBA or CBAP, which I hope you have more than 5 years experience. So the CBAP is good for you. Preparing for the exam. So take a certification preparation course with an endorsed education provider. If you're looking to enroll in the course, you can reach out to me and we can talk more about that for my certification prep courses. However, taking the course first, because you understand, you go through all the knowledge areas and all the techniques, right? And then you have someone who's going to actually share, tips and strategies with you. But the tips and strategies I can share with you right now is getting an understanding of all the knowledge areas. Don't skip around anything, reading the knowledge areas, doing practice questions and simulations will definitely help you get in tune with how the questions are set and how the exam works. And when you're doing live simulations, you're timing yourself to actually finish the exam before 3.5 hours. So that puts you in the exam mode. You already know how long it takes you to answer one question. So you shouldn't spend more than 2 minutes on a question. If the question is going to take you a longer time to answer, you can flag it for review later and then move on. Because you have 3.5 hours, you're being timed, you want to make sure you answer as many questions as possible. So you focus on the low-hanging fruits and answer those questions and then go back to the ones you flagged. So there's a lot of case study questions that are very lengthy that may take your time. You can leave that for the end if it's going to take you a while to answer the question, right? So preparing is basically studying the Babok. People say read the Babok at least 3 times, but the truth is, if you're doing practice questions and reading at the same time, you find that you have read the Babok more than 3 times. Some people read it more than that. But using that procedure of study, practice question, study, simulation, study, quizzes would actually help you retain what you're studying. But you have experience. However, the exam is based off on the Business Analyst Book of Knowledge, which is the Babok, a guide to practicing business analysis. Your experience isn't what is going to help you pass the exam. For a lot of experienced business analysts, they tend to fail these exams because they answer the questions based on what they do at work. They don't answer the questions based on the guide, which is the Business Analyst Book of Knowledge. You want to make sure you're answering questions based on what the Babok says, right? Niha, how do I shift domain in business analysis? How to prove in the interview when I worked in only one domain, in my case, banking, to shift to public admin domain, government particularly, any specific certifications or any other techniques, guidance to transform the domain. So Niha, what you need to do is, so you have experience working in banking, which is great. You're moving into public sector and government. It doesn't really matter that you don't have experience in the government sector, right? You're going to look at the projects you've worked on and be able to speak to your experience and the value you bring to the table. So you worked in banking, you worked in the bank. What are the projects you worked on? What value do you bring to the table as a business analyst? What tools can you use? What techniques, did you use, right? Talk about your interpersonal skills, talk about your behavioral skills that you have and the competencies you have that are valuable to that organization. So you want to also do your research on the organization, know the kind of projects they work on there, know the kind of projects you'll be involved in. And then if you have some relatable experience, you can, find a way to bridge your experience in banking to the government sector, right? Your experience as a business analyst is still relevant, whether you're in banking tomorrow, whether you're in the government sector or even in the health sector. It doesn't really matter. Really, it's really just about knowing how you're able to provide value. So a business analyst is recommending solutions and delivering value to stakeholders. So you should always keep that at the back of your mind when you're speaking to an employer. How are you going to deliver value? Recommend solutions that help to drive the business goals. Justin, thanks, Eno. You said a BA is more about the job duties than the title itself, but what strategy would you suggest for one to transition into a BA role with the accompanying title? I'm not sure what you mean in your question. So So Justin, if I get your question well, so you don't have the title, that's fantastic. That's not a problem. But however, what are the activities you've carried out? What projects have you carried out? What are the accomplishments that you have? That's how you're going to transition, right? It's not really not about having the title. It's really about, what value do you bring to the table? And in some way, you're still a business analyst, whether you're in finance, whether you're in construction, whether you're in tech, healthcare, you're still a business analyst. So knowing what you've done as a business analyst, and then for a lot of people, you could just say business analyst, finance industry, finance experience, business analyst, healthcare experience, healthcare domain, and then talk about the accomplishments that you've had. Focus more on the value you're bringing to the table. So important. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Someone says, I have good experience as a BA. What strategy do you think I can use and get a job as a BA while working on getting the certification? So if you already have experience, then you should be applying to roles that are a good fit for the experience that you have, right? You have experience, then make sure your resume is aligned to the roles you're looking out for, that you're a good fit for. Make sure that your LinkedIn profile as well is optimized for business analysis. So I find a lot of LinkedIn profiles the profiles look like the person is confused, because you see someone who says digital marketing experts, project manager, change manager, business analyst, and you're searching for a job. Which of them are you looking out for? Where are your strengths? In your work experience, when I look at what you've done, what can I say? Okay, Eniola, what's Eniola's strengths? What has Eniola done? Eniola worked at XYZ, organization. What value did she bring to XYZ organization as a business analyst, right? So you need to understand that the role of a business analyst and a project manager are different. So I want to be able to see relatable experience to business analysis, that accomplishments that are that stand out. So you could use that to start applying to roles. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is optimized for what you're looking for at this time, which is a business analyst role. Okay, and applying to those roles, and networking as well, very key. I'm a Scrum Master. I plan on relocating to America. What are my chances of securing a job though I am a BA with Capital, now a consultancy in the UK? Oh, well, Latunde, you have experience as a BA, right? Okay, you're Scrum Master certified. Do you have experience working as a BA? If you do, okay, you're working as a BA and you're a Scrum Master. And you want to relocate. What are your chances? Well, your chances are high because you have experience. So what a lot of us don't understand that your experience is still valuable. And then use your experience to get into those companies you want and those roles that you want. Look at the roles that are a good fit for you. You have experience delivering those kind of projects, or you have transferable skills. So you're a BA and you're a Scrum Master, so you definitely understand agile methodology. You understand the business analysis framework, right? So and you understand Scrum as well. So you want to make sure you're looking out for roles that they are looking for BAs with Scrum experience, with Agile experience, with Scrum certifications. That makes you tick all the boxes. You're a good fit. And then, of course, if there are other requirements that you tick the boxes, then that also puts you on a higher pedestal. So if you're also looking to move into a BA role, you have your Scrum certification. Do you have your BA certification? I advise you get it before you move into the US. However, that won't stop you from getting a job, but it just, you secure a job, a higher paying job. You also get more opportunities. Sam says, I'm a PMP certified project controls engineer. I work in construction, oil and gas. Do you think I can still fit in as a BA? Yes, you definitely can. Even as a PM, you still have relatable skills to business analysis, right? So if you're a PM who's found yourself in a situation where you had to wear both hats, you're looking at project success and you're also looking at the solution as well, or the product as the case may be, then you definitely have relatable access from your construction and oil and gas experience, into business analysis. And, because you've been in the oil and gas domain, you also want to see how you can, make sure you increase your chances of getting into business analysis, as a business analyst who has experience in oil and gas. So look out for, oil and gas companies that are recruiting for a business analyst, and then look at the job description and the requirements they're looking out for in business, for business analysts, and look at your experience. Okay, what are the things I have right now as a PMP and as a project engineer that relate to business analysis? And you're just going to align your resume to those roles. You're going to make sure that you're speaking to your experience and accomplishments, as a business analyst as well. So you can definitely still fit in as a BA. They're kind of like sister roles, just with different focus at every point in time. So yeah, I'm just going to see if there's any more questions before we wrap it up. 1 second. See if there's any questions, and any more questions, and then we wrap it up. Good questions, everyone. Really, really good questions. Yeah, okay. So I'll take my final question before we wrap it up. Deborah says, if you have a master's in BA, it's important to get a certification in BA. Deborah, how many jobs have you seen an employer asking for a master's in business analysis? It's not, I hardly ever see a job asking for a master's in business analysis. Most times I haven't seen maybe an MBA if it's a senior role, but I haven't really seen, master's in BA. And to be honest, if you want to get into the business analysis field, just get a certification. I don't see why you have to go do a master's, spend a ton of money, and spend 18 to 24 months in school for something you can actually prepare in 3 months and get a certification. I've had my certification for years, and basically that's what I've been using to practice business analysis. And that's, I have my designation, and then of course, as I'm practicing business analysis, I'm growing in my knowledge and my experience. So, get your certification and, get into that role and start practicing business analysis to kind of expand your knowledge, than, doing a master's in business analysis. I really don't see why. Maybe later on in your career, you could go get an MBA if you want to get into senior management, but it's not important. It's not important. I wouldn't advise that for anyone. Right now, if you want to get into the field, having a master's isn't a requirement. I'm a full stack software developer with evident experience. Do I need to be certified to get hired? Okay, Olu Soya, so you have experience as a software developer with evident experience. Evident experience doing what? Developing softwares, or evident experience practicing business analysis? That's what I'm not sure, which of them, applies. So, but as a developer, what role have you played, right? So as a developer, were you just working in the team to develop the software that was, that was deployed, or, were you somewhat a developer and a BA? That's where I need to understand the evident experience. But I would advise you, you get certified if you can, because the application of business analysis from the understanding of a certified BA is way, way different from you being a developer developing softwares and writing your code, right? So the reason why business analysts the role of a business analyst is so important, and why it came about, is because the business needs someone who is a liaison, who is going to be the bridge between the technical and the technical side of the business and the business in itself. So the business requirements and the solution requirements. Someone who is a link, who's the bridge. So I come in as a business analyst, I understand the solution that we're working on, and I understand the business need. I understand why the business needs to achieve this. So I come in to make sure that, those goals are aligned, we're delivering this solution, and we're also achieving our business goals. And our goals may be to enter a new market, to increase our revenue, to satisfy our customers. Those are our goals. And we're doing this through a solution that we're deploying. Say it's a new app, maybe, and you were the software developer working on that project. I am the BA. I understand the technical side. I understand the business side. So do you understand both sides? Can you wear the hat of a BA and understand the technical side and the business side? You're not too technical. You understand, you have great business knowledge. You have great business acumen. You have great financial analysis skills. When you have a project in front of you, you're looking at the return on investments. You're thinking about, what are we going to gain from investing in this project? What's the payback period for this project, right? How soon can we make our money back, right? When you have a solution to deploy, you're not just looking at the cost of the solution right now, you're also looking at the cost of maintaining that solution, right? You're not also just looking at the cost of solution right now, you're also looking at the internal rate of return, the average rate of return. Do you have great business analysis skills in the sense of financial analysis, business acumen? There's a lot of things that come with being a business analyst and not just being technical. And that's why you don't have to be technical to be a business analyst. You need to understand and know what the solution offers. However, knowing what the business needs at that point in time. So I don't know how well you have a good blend of things. So I would definitely advise, going through the business analysis course, at least, and then taking a look at the certifications for sure. And for a lot of technical people moving into business analysis, I tell them to take business courses. Business courses are so key, for you to be a good business analyst. The people who are highly technical don't really make great decisions as a business analyst because they're not asking the right questions and they're not really thinking about the business need. So there are a lot of things you need to look at when you're working on a project. There's the internal factors, there's the external factors, and there's so many techniques you can use, as a business analyst to really, really guide, your judgments, to guide how you're going to recommend solutions to the business. You're an advisor to the business. The business depends on you to recommend the right solutions. So you want to make sure you have a good grasp of business acumen, business knowledge, as well as the solution. Okay, another question. How much does going for a diploma in business analysis help in my career? Why do you need a diploma? If you don't have any experience at all and you like the school environment, then you can go and get a diploma. But if you do not, I don't know why. I don't know why you want that. But if you want to learn in the school environment and learn business analytics, then you should look at a diploma. So I don't know where you're located, but here in Calgary, there's a diploma in business intelligence and analytics in SAIT, which is great. I know a lot of people who have gone through that program. So you learn advanced Excel, SQL, and R and Python and the whole stack for Power BI, which is great for you as a business analytics expert, right? So you might want to go, look at that, take a look at the diploma if you want to do that. Some people are great at learning online or learning through a course as well, depending on financial situation. So yeah, I think that's all for questions. I don't think I have any more questions. I will just check to be sure I have answered all questions, and then we can call it a day. Thanks for asking questions, guys. It was very, very good, and I'm very happy to, to help you guys answer a lot of questions that you've been asking me. Just trying to see if there's any more questions on the other platforms where I'm streaming to. Obianuju, I don't understand your questions. So in regards to mentorship, you can send me a message, if you have questions in regards to mentorship. But mentorship is a continuous journey. It's not something that just, it's one time. It's effort on your side and on the side of the mentor, and the mentee, to achieve, this goal that you want. So I want to make sure I've answered all the questions, because I'm multi-streaming. So I'm not just only on LinkedIn. I hope I have answered all the questions. Okay, I think I have answered all the questions. I will do one last search and we're good to go. Yes, I have answered all your questions. So it was really nice. Oh, one last question. I have 12 years of experience in embedded firmware development and project management. As you are located in Canada, can you please inform scope of this field in Canada, some tips to better migrate my way? Oh, Harish, I think you joined late. I talked about immigrating to Canada. I talked about that. Also, I've also talked about this. So, Harish, you're moving to Canada. What do you want to do in Canada? You have experience in firmware development and project management. Where do you want to align your career goals to? Now you're moving to Canada. You want to move to Canada. Do you want to be a project manager, or do you want to be still be in the development sector, development phase? Now, as a project manager, you have experience in project management, 12 years. What kind of projects have you managed? What kind of projects have you worked on, right? That would now determine the kind of roles you would be looking out for. Because I definitely believe there would be roles that are applicable to what you've done, your experience. Moving to Canada, you want to go to the Canadian website, look at the programs, the federal skill program, there's provincial nomination programs you can apply to. You want to make sure you have done an English test, make sure you've verified your your education through the evaluation bodies. You want to make sure that you already have work experience, and so your English test, evaluating your education, and then applying until you get that opportunity to move here. There's so many moving parts to this. Hopefully we can talk about immigration in detail some other time. But it's been nice talking to everyone and answering your questions. Nice to hop on here once in a while for live chats. I will try to come on more often as time permits. So it's goodbye for me. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Take care and see you next time. Bye.